Hi, and welcome back to Points Unknown. Today, we're going to be installing the Lolo Racks DIY bike rack system onto our new van ladder that we installed in the last video. So here I have the Lolo Racks bike mounting system. Now this is not their whole kit. Obviously they sell the complete hitch-mounted bike rack system, but since we already had one of those from Recon and are looking to simplify our setup, we got their kind of standalone system that is made to attach to any ladder or I guess metal frame on the back of your vehicle. Of course, we'll be installing this on the back of our Sprinter van, on our new Surco ladder that we put on the back there. If you want to know how we did that, there's a video in the link somewhere. But yeah, let's dig right into what's in this box. Checking out what's in the box in a little more detail and kind of figuring out how this is all going to work. This is, kind of the DIY kit from Lolo Racks. They call it the Rad Lad kit for putting it on the back of your existing van ladder. And so there is, some assembly required and some figuring that is required. And once we get to the back of the van, we'll really start figuring out what that is. But it looks like what we've got is the two mounting rails. I've already started putting the U-bolts in just to see how that would work. Washers and two nuts to lock those up. We'll probably just use some Loctite on that. And then another rail, and then all the hardware for mounting, for the handlebars. It looks like we use the slotted carriage nuts because they got the nice square end in there, and then those slot through and go in with lock nuts, washers, etc. And then for the lower wheels, the back wheels, we just have regular bolts and nuts and washers to put that piece in. So, could be good. So the U-bolts that came with the kit from Lolo Racks were for clearly a much larger ladder than what we have. And because of that, they were not going to work for our Surco rack. So we ordered from McMaster-Carr new U-bolts. These are 1.5 inch wide, roughly 1.5 inch wide by 3 inch long U-bolts to go around here and attached to the Lolo rack. Because we don't have the fancy rubber gasketed or rubber lined U-bolt for these, we will just use the rubber that came with the Lolo and just wrap it all the way around and chop it off so that it serves the same purpose there to protect the ladder and the rack. The bolts that they gave us are not really long enough to go all the way through, as you can see. So I'm not sure, it wouldn't matter if I wrap this around or put it on forward, it's still short. So that's unfortunate and also annoying. I'm a little less excited about this Lolo kit than I was when I first got it. It's like really well coated, really nicely done, but like U-bolts had to be replaced with something that we had to buy separately, and that's like forgivable because I guess a lot of ladders are a lot wider, I guess. But then this part, yeah, just seems like they didn't give us the right length of bolts for that. To clean up the extra long U-bolts that we purchased, I went ahead and ground down the bolts as they were mounted on the rack so that we get a nice smooth finish. That's what we're doing this for the ladder specifically or for the bike rack specifically this time.
Yeah.
We've got everything on it so that we can really see what it's going to look like. It also gives it some nice weight too that it'll hopefully stay on a little bit better while we're measuring. Poor planning when we initially installed the ladder led us to have to relocate the ladder before we could properly utilize our bike rack. So we were very careful to test everything out before committing to the new holes in the permanent ladder location. With the ladder reinstalled in its new location and the bike rack assembled on the ladder, we figured we were done, project complete. But then we took it for its first real loaded up bumpy road test ride and decided we had some additional work to do. So one of the things that we noticed almost instantly with our new ladder mounted bike rack setup is that we get a lot of lateral play in the ladder because it is only looped around the top of the door frame and bolted just at the bottom. The top is able to slide around, especially when you put the weight of the bikes on it. It really does slide around. You can hear it making a lot of noise, and also we can see on the top there's it sliding around and actually damaging the door a little bit. And so the concern is, of course, that it'll move far enough over that it gets to the short end of the door and pop off. And so we're going to prevent that from happening with a couple chunks of metal bolted through the door. So what we've cut out here is a backing plate that'll go on the inside of the van, inside the door frame, and then a larger piece of angle that will bolt through the door in the backing plate, and then we're going to U-bolt across it. Actually, it'll be like this. Here as it attaches to the door, and then we're going to bolt it through the door here. So we'll drill through the door, and then we'll have a backing plate on it. And bolt it up and then tighten the U-bolts so they basically pull the ladder down onto the door, keeping it from bouncing up and releasing off the hooks because those hooks are pretty shallow, and also keeping it from sliding from side to side. So we're going to use some motorcycle inner tube or hole. Now that we have it bolted to the door and locked in, U-bolted everything, it's much sturdier, and I think we're going to feel much more confident, especially on shaky dirt roads and washboard, that our bikes are not going anywhere and that we're not going to rip our door apart when they fall off, because they're not going to fall off. There we go. Thanks for watching this edition of the Points Unknown Garage, where we installed the Lolo Racks Rad Lad ladder-mounted bike rack kit on our Surco ladder. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. If you're interested in more content like this, feel free to subscribe. We release monthly videos on our camper van projects, as well as motorcycle how-tos and our random adventures. Thanks again for coming by.